back in New Orleans as we get ready for the All-State Sugar Bowl. The Sugar Bowl invited every living head coach and most valuable player from the first 74 games, including Archie Manning, Ken Stabler. They are on the field for the coin toss. Our referee is Scott Novak.
Okay, guys, this is the Sugar Bowl coin for tonight. That's my heads, that's my tails. That's my heads, that's my tails. Utah, you will make the choice. They have chosen tails. Flipping the coin tonight is former Sugar Bowl player, assistant coach, head coach, athletic director, and sportscaster, Mr. Frank Boyles. Will you please do the honor, Mr. Boyles?
Here we go.
It is tails. Utah, you've won the toss. Utah won the toss, elected to defer. Want the ball? Which way you want to kick? Switch ends.
Utah won the toss, elected to defer. The opening kickoff is coming up next. Welcome back to the Louisiana Superdome. Ben Vroman getting set to kick off for Utah. On the left, Mike McCoy. On the right, Javier Arenas, one of the best return men in the nation. Back deep for the Crimson Tide. Utah 12-0, Alabama 12-1. The 75th All-State Sugar Bowl is underway. Opening kickoff taken at the 1-yard line by Arenas. Arenas tackled at the 28-yard line by Clint Bauer. So the senior out of Hoover, Alabama, John Parker Wilson, will lead the Crimson Tide offense out. He has broken school records for completions, attempts, passing yards, and touchdowns.
Oh, everybody's talked to him about coming out and managing the game, and the best way to do that, hand the ball off to Glenn Coffey, let him run behind this big physical offensive line. The two tight ends, very critical. Mike Johnson obviously getting the start tonight for Andre Smith. David Ross takes his spot at left guard.
This is Glenn Coffey running left on first down across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Coffey has gained over 1,300 yards so far this season.
Well, you heard Barry Switzer talk in the pregame show. He wants to see how this defense does when Alabama runs north and south. They're a little bit smaller. They're going to utilize their quickness. They're not going to line up and not be fluid in their movements and line up in front of these big offensive linemen of the Crimson Tide.
On 2nd and 6, off the play fake to Coffey. The catch is made by one of the two tight ends you spoke about, Darryl, Nick Walker. 29 receptions this season, most by an Alabama tight end in 19 years.
And everybody talks about Glenn Coffey and Julio Jones, but I really like the combination of Travis McCall and Nick Walker at the tight end position. They run play action. You've got to be honest with the boots and the sneaks that come out of that offense on the backside.
1st and 10 from the 38-yard line. 4 receivers set. Coffey blown back. And Coffey tackled back at the 34-yard line. Loss of 4 yards on the play. And when we spoke with Paul Kruger yesterday, he told us we must get into the backfield early.
They have to. They've got to utilize their quickness. That is what Utah is about. Paul Kruger coming from the outside right out here. Look at the position. He doesn't chase down along the line of scrimmage. He stays upfield. When Glenn Coffey comes to come the backside, he's right there to make the tackle.
Two tight ends, 2nd down and 14. From the 34-yard line, opening possession of the game for Alabama. Wilson with loads of time. He throws, and it's dropped by a wide-open Julio Jones.
Again, it's another one of the bread and butter plays of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Julio Jones, the bottom of your screen. He's going to get into that second tier. Little collision right there, comes wide open on the backside, but unable to pull that one in.
Jones, a true freshman, leads the Crimson Tide with 51 receptions. Alabama now facing a third down at 14.
One of the areas that Nick Saban is concerned, he calls these loose downs. This is where he's really worried about the quickness of Utah.
Penalty markers prior to the snap. Wilson taken down back at the 26.
You can see right there the first opportunity in one of those situations that Coach Saban was worried about, and they get pressure. Going to move to the outside. Going to hit it on the run. The quickness of Utah gets to quarterback John Parker Wilson.
P.J. Fitzgerald back at his own 15-yard line. Brent Castillo loses the football, but it bounces right into the hands of his teammate who spent part of his childhood living right here in New Orleans, R.J. Rice.
What a heads-up play by R.J. Rice. We talked about the margin for error. They cannot turn the ball over there in that situation.
Welcome back, Kenny Albert, Daryl Johnston, Chris Myers, Carissa Thompson from the Louisiana Superdome. Following the Alabama punt. The Utes led out by quarterback Brian Johnson, the Mountain West Conference Offensive Player of the Year. He's thrown 9 touchdown passes over his last 2 games. First and 10 for Utah from their own 32-yard line. Johnson over the top. First down and more. Jeremy Brooks finally forced out of bounds after a 19-yard pickup.
That's what they want to do on offense. Spread it out. Let their guys get into open space. Brian Johnson very confident in what this offense is going to be able to do this evening against Alabama. A great set of wide receivers to work with. And here's the group that I was impressed with during the week at practice. A very consistent offensive line. They work very well together.
2 plays, 2 first downs. Darrell Mack out of the backfield picks up 14. $33 yards on the first 2 plays for Utah. From the 35, Johnson going deep, and it is hauled in by Braden Godfrey. 22 yards.
Alabama has struggled this season when people go no huddle and they play up-tempo offense. It's happened several times during the course of the season to them. Utah's come out and jumped in that right away.
3 plays, 3 first downs. From the Alabama 13, the slant is caught at the 6-yard line by Freddie Brown. Kareem Jackson made the tackle, gain of 7.
Trying to find out if Freddie Brown maintained possession through this catch. Alabama saying incomplete. Boy, he landed hard on that turf. Kareem Jackson got underneath him, spun him back.
Every play is reviewed upstairs in the replay booth. 2nd down and 3. From just inside the 7. Complete, diving for the end zone. Touchdown, Brent Castillo.
Jimmy Johnson wanted to know about the rust with John Parker Wilson in this long layoff. How about the defense? Boy, they looked absolutely shocked by the Utah offense and the way they took the field.
A 5-play, 68-yard drive, Darryl. It took 1:19 seconds. The Utes out to a 7-0 lead over the Crimson Tide. Brian Johnson, 5 for 5, 68 yards, hit 5 different receivers on the opening drive.
That was an unbelievable offensive series for Utah. And there were several times where Alabama was not even able to get lined up and get set in their defense.
Roman's kickoff taken 3 yards deep by Arenas. spinning across the 25. Out to the 28-yard line. R.J. Stanford made the tackle.
Go back and take a look at that last offensive series and watch Utah. They're up at the line of scrimmage. They're calling the play. They're all set. Look at the movement with Alabama. They catch him flat-footed right out to the flat. Bryant Castile, touchdown.
Princeton Tide go back to work from their own 28-yard line. This is Coffee. Out across the 30. Koamisi and Paul Kruger in on the tackle, a gain of 2 for Glenn Coffee, who gained 112 yards on the ground in the SEC championship game against Florida.
We wanted to know about the response by Alabama after the loss to Florida. Now let's see what the response is after that opening series. They had an offensive series, a defensive series. Did not go well at all on either side of the ball. Relax. Everything's fine. It's 7-0 Utah. Don't panic. Stick with what you do.
Wilson out of the shotgun on 2nd and 8. And the pass is intercepted. And taken back to the 32-yard line by Robert Johnson, his 3rd pick of the season.
Robert Johnson, number 17, out there on the left hash. That's just a bad throw by John Parker Wilson. Not a whole lot that Robert Johnson has to do to make that interception. Alabama does not know what hit him.
The Utes led the Mountain West Conference with 17 interceptions this season. Sets up great field position for Utah from the Alabama 32. Johnson on 1st down. He's 5 for 5 going deep and throws it out of the end zone, intended for Castile, who has the Utes touchdown.
Nice job by Rashad Johnson. He's not getting fooled. Double move right there by the Utah Utes, trying to hit another big play right away. Coming off the turnover, let's go right at him. Let's see if we can get up 14-0 right away.
Utah looking to capitalize on the turnover. Matt Asiata in the backfield. Asiata brought down by the junior Brandon Gederick along with sophomore Rolando McClain.
Now Utah, for them to have success tonight, it's going to be the passing game, but they do have to make some commitment to the run. And it's not about setting a number of how many yards you're going to get tonight or how many yards per carry you'd like to get tonight, but Kyle Whittingham knows that he has to at least let Alabama know he's not afraid to run the football into that front. And you'll see the read keep, the read option, speed sweeps, a lot of different ways to run the ball. Even some of their screens in their passing game will take the place of runs.
4 receiver set, 3rd and 10 from the Alabama 32. Johnson firing downfield, and the catch is made for a 1st down inside the 5 by David Reed. A 30-yard pass play.
Marquise Johnson never gets his head around to find the ball. David Reed is just a simple go route. Now, these are passes you don't normally see from Utah. They're not a real big vertical team. Marquise Johnson doesn't get his head around. He's trying to get his hand up there, but right now it is Utah making all the critical plays in the early part of this game.
Johnson 6 for 7. He's hit 6 different receivers. 1st and goal from the Alabama 2. Looking for Reed again. Incomplete. 2nd and goal.
Great play by Dante Hightower. Now this guy is a true freshman. He was playing high school football last year.
Wow.
I mean, absolutely amazing. We saw him at practice, and I was so impressed by what he did. And on that play right there, as an inside linebacker, they run motion across the formation. They've got the isolation they want. They got the matchup one-on-one.
Johnson to the sidelines. This is the Asiata package. Matt Asiata will take the snap. 2nd and goal from the 2. Asiata. Touchdown. Sakota adds the extra point. We have not yet played 6.5 minutes. 14-0 Utah. What a start for the Utes. 12th rushing touchdown of the season for Asiata. Alabama and their fans stunned.
I'm stunned.
Romans kickoff taken at the 2 by Arenas.
Well, they are flying around.
R.J. Rice makes the tackle. He recovered the fumble earlier on the Utah return. Brings down Arenas just shy of the 20.
And how big of a play was that by R.J. Rice when he catches that bobble by Brent Castile? I mean, you're talking about turning the ball over to Alabama deep in your end. You get the ball back, you go right down the field in a no-huddle, interception on the next series, and then you're back in the end zone at 14-0.
Total yards, Utah 100, Alabama 1. Great job by the Utah defense. They have a sack and an interception so far. Wilson going deep, and the pass a bit long, intended for Nikita Stover, as we check in for the first time tonight with Chris Myers. Chris?
Kenny, behind the Alabama bench, Rashard Johnson looking into his teammates' eyes, stunned, just as you were discussing. After the initial touchdown, head coach Nick Saban came over, gathered the linebackers, was hollering, and then the defensive coordinator, Kirby Smart, gathered the rest of the defense. They were urging the defense, get in place in a hurry, stay in your position, stay calm. But right now, there is a look of shock on the Alabama sideline.
All right, thanks, Chris. 2nd and 10 from the 20. Penalty flags.
That ball, false start on the offense. Number 78, 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
That's Mike Johnson, usually the left guard, starting at left tackle tonight for the suspended Andre Smith.
Not the first time he's done that this season. Earlier in the year against Tulane, Mike Johnson kicked out to play left tackle.
Second down and 15, inside handoff to Coffey, and he takes it out across the 20-yard line.
Well, we've seen Utah tonight making all the big plays, and on that last deep pass, Nikita Stover was open immediately down the middle of the field. They couldn't hit him, and now we've got Mike Johnson down. So you would be to your 3rd left tackle, going up the best pass rusher for the Utah Utes, Paul Kruger, on that side. Ooh, whole pile rolled up on the back of his legs.
Medical staff tending to the junior from Pensacola, Florida. Back in New Orleans, Drew Davis, number 79, moves to left tackle. And true freshman John Michael Boswell, number 67, in at right tackle. 3rd down and 10. Penalty flags. Free play. Wilson over the middle. And it's off the hands of the intended receiver, Darius Hanks.
Offside on a defense, number 56. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's on the defensive tackle, Greg Newman.
An opportunity for Alabama to take advantage of the situation. Should be coming off the field right now. Greg Newman giving them another opportunity to convert on 3rd down. Julio Jones going in motion.
Third down and 5. Wilson steps up, and he picks up a first down. Out of bounds at the 35-yard line. 10 yards for John Parker Wilson. Tried to get back on the field from the Utah sidelines.
He might have gotten a little bit of a shove when he got over there on that Utah sideline. Again, bringing pressure by Utah. Picked up John Parker Wilson going outside. There's a little bit. R.J. Sanford, a little bit of a push there at the end. His big tackle, Drew Davis, though, coming into the sideline, making sure he's okay.
Two tight end set. First and 10 from the 35-yard line, and Coffey able to gain just one.
Not really surprised about what is happening in this game because of the matchup, but just because of how dominant Alabama has been in the quarter this season. 133-27 tonight. They're down 14-0.
And now this is the biggest deficit the Crimson Tide have faced all season. They trailed by 11 against Florida. The final score 31-20 was their previous biggest deficit. Second down and 9 off the play fake. Wilson in trouble, forced to throw it away. The pressure from Greg Newman.
Well done by Greg Newman, staying with your responsibility, not chasing the backside. Greg Newman's going to be contained here on the inside. Get upfield. Here comes your quarterback on the boot, right in his face. He did not go down the line and chase, did what his job was in that call.
Wilson's taking some pounding tonight.
They have got the front confused with the pressure they're bringing. I think they're struggling a little bit with the quickness.
Third down and 9 for Alabama. Wilson can't find anyone. Wrapped up. Down he goes. Kemba Dyson starting for the injured Nai Fotu. Loss of 8 yards on the play.
The ball's got to come out quicker. John Parker Wilson has to throw it away because right now they are not sustaining their blocks. Travis McCall on Kemba Dyson gets turned around. Bag technique gives him the short corner to come off the block.
Fitzgerald back at his own 15-yard line, punting to Brent Castile. Fair catch called for at the 35-yard line. 36-yard punt by Alexander. The University of Alabama is a finalist for the Pontiac Game-Changing Performance of the Year.
Intercepted by the Crimson Tide, Rashad Johnson.
It's up to you, the fans, to help decide if the Crimson Tide will win this year's award and the general scholarship contribution from Pontiac. Vote now at pontiac.com/NCAA to help determine the winner of the Pontiac Game-Changing Performance of the Year, which will be announced at the FedEx BCS Championship game on Fox, January 8th. First and 10 for Utah. From their own 35-yard line, leading 14-0. Johnson over the middle. Rolando McClain with the coverage. Freddie Brown, the intended receiver, as we check in with Carissa Thompson. Carissa?
Well, guys, Utah fans couldn't be happier about the way that this game has started. In particular, 70 of them who chartered a bus Tuesday morning to make the trip down here. They almost didn't even make it out of the state. Apparently, the bus was over the weight limit, so they had to get a pardon from the governor. Then the bus broke down in Dallas. The bathroom broke. They got lost in Shreveport, Louisiana. And so after 38 hours and almost 1,800 miles, you guys, they finally made it here, and it was apparently worth every minute of the trip.
Well, it certainly has been so far, Carissa, as Godfrey picks up a first down. Not sure how well our crew would do on a 38-hour bus ride.
We would not do well. We would not do well, Kenny. I can't do the 38 hours on the bus. I might have gotten off in Dallas and gone to the airport and flown back home.
And a pardon from the governor. Brown into Alabama territory. Knocked out of bounds by Kareem Jackson, gain of 8.
Well, good to see Freddie Brown back out there. He took that big fall on that opening drive when he went up high for a pass and got undercut, landed on his back.
Johnson on second down, intended for Castile. Ali Sharif on the coverage for the Crimson Tide. So a 3rd down and 4 coming up for the Utes, who lead Alabama 14-0. Utah must get to the 45-yard line for a first down. Johnson takes off. First down and more as he slides at the 39-yard line. He needed 4, and he gained 9.
He is making great decisions right now. The one thing that is impressive about Brian Johnson when you watch him is his accuracy with the football. We've seen that tonight, but also just his decision making. He's got pressure in his face pre-snap. You've got your linebackers, Dante Hightower and Rolando McClain, walked up into the gaps. They drop out. He goes through his progression. Nothing's there. Pulls the ball down, moves the chains.
Back in the backfield. 1st and 10 from the Alabama 40. Low snap. Johnson steps up, throws, and it's caught and taken down to the 33-yard line by Freddie Brown. Sharif makes the tackle for Brown, his 3rd reception.
Again, staying a little bit up-tempo, forcing Alabama to keep their personnel on the field. They're not able to match right now with what Utah is putting out there offensively.
2nd down and 3. Johnson for Castile. Penalty marker.
Pass interference on the defense, number 26. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
Brent Castile beyond Ali Sharif. Again, we saw it earlier with another pass to the opposite corner. Alabama, the defensive backs are not getting their head around to find the ball as it's coming in at the point of the catch.
First and 10 from the 18-yard line following the penalty. Five receivers set. Johnson looking left. He throws, and the catch is made, extending across the goal line for a touchdown, Braden Godfrey.
Wow, 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 Kenny. I cannot believe how Utah has started this game. Their execution is virtually flawless. They did not have a lot of margin for error, in my opinion, when this game started, and they have exceeded my expectations. They have played and executed unbelievable in this first quarter.
3 Utah possessions, 3 Utah touchdowns. Stunning. Utah Utes out to a 21-0 lead over the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Braden Godfrey in the slot, a little exchange right there, then a back shoulder fade, and again, how many times have we seen that? This time it's Mark Barron not knowing where the ball is. By the time he figures it out, Braden Godfrey's diving to the end zone for 6. Boy, has Brian Johnson played well tonight.
Johnson 10 of 14, 139 yards, 2 touchdown passes. Roman kicking off for the fourth time. Arenas on the return. Cuts to his right. And Javier Arenas brings it all the way out to the 42. Finally tackled by R.J. Rice. A 36-yard return by Arenas. These great overhead shots brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. What's going through the minds of these Alabama players right now? They were 12-0. They lost in the SEC championship game. They have not played in 27 days, and they've fallen behind 21-0.
If Nick Saban is thinking anyway the same way I am right now, I would have my staff together and tell my players, hey, look at the clock right now. There is 3 minutes and 45 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Yeah, we've fallen behind 21-0, but we've got a lot of time to get back into this football game. Do not panic.
15 yards. Wilson to Nikita Stover. First and 10 from the Utah 43. Coffee. You were once in a similar situation in an NFC championship game, were you not?
Oh, we were. We played San Francisco out on their home field, and it was 21-0 with about 5 minutes gone in the game, and that was the one thing that we talked about. Hey, this game has started about as bad as it possibly could have for us, but the clock is our friend right now. Don't panic. Let's stick with our offense. Get back into this game. Alabama is not built to come from behind, but they don't have to. There's plenty of time left. Stay with what your plan was coming into the game.
Second and 6 from the Utah 40. Under 3 minutes remaining, first quarter. Wilson again under pressure. He gets rid of it to Coffee, who picks up a first down. Finally tackled at the 26-yard line. Coffee gains 13.
John Parker Wilson in the shotgun now. Paul Kruger, all right, number 11 on the defense. You have to know where he is. You have to have a man on him. You cannot turn him loose to your quarterback, even on a screen pass to the outside. If that was any other play, besides one that he could get the ball quickly out to Glenn Coffee, it's going to be another big play for the Utah defense.
Two tight ends set, movement, and the play blown dead.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, number 88, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Now here's something that the offensive front of Alabama is going to have to deal with all game. Utah does a great job of stemming right before the snap of the ball. Watch the two inside tackles right on your guards. Watch them stem. Very quickly, everybody moves, even the defensive end that time. Stay with the cadence of your quarterback. Don't go on the movement of the defender.
Nick Walker, the guilty member of the Crimson Tide. First and 15 from the 32, Coffee. And Coffee takes it all the way down to the 21-yard line, gain of 11 before he was finally brought down by the Utes' leading tackler this season, Mike Wright. Second down and 4. Two tight ends. Coffee in the backfield. Coffee up the middle. Brought down at the 18-yard line, a yard shy of an Alabama first down.
Being able to stay ahead of the chains on the downs, and that was, you know, Kyle Whittingham, that was one of his concerns. Also coming in, Gary Anderson, defensive coordinator for Utah. We can't allow success on first down by Alabama. They can't come out and simply hand the ball off and start getting 6 yards. They've done that on the last couple of series. It puts them in very manageable third downs, and then all of a sudden you have John Parker Wilson. You start to hear that game manager term. These are the situations that he is very good at.
More flags.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, number 88, 5-yard penalty, third down.
Nick Walker again playing in his 52nd game tonight, which ties a school record, his second penalty.
It's going to be hard for Nick Walker because Nick Walker is the farthest one removed. He's going to be the guy that's going to have the most trouble hearing the cadence of John Parker Wilson, but he's got to stay in. Sneak a little peek at your tackle. Sneak a little peek at the other tight end if you're in a wing situation, but you can't be influenced by the movement of the Utah front. It's part of their defensive plan.
3rd down and 7. Wilson under pressure, down he goes. Back at the 37-yard line. Kenape Iliapo, the junior out of San Francisco. The first quarter comes to an end here in New Orleans. Utah leading Alabama 21-0. We get set to start the second quarter, and that look just about sums up what most Alabama fans must be thinking.
Most all Alabama fans.
Lee Tiffin out to attempt a 52-yard field goal. His career long is 54. His father holds the Alabama record at 57. Tiffin from 52. It is good. 1 yard shy of the all-time All-State Sugar Bowl record, which is a 53-yard field goal. John Carroll of Oklahoma back in 1972. Alabama on the scoreboard. Back, Utah leading Alabama 21-3. The Utes scoring 3 first-quarter touchdowns against an Alabama squad that allowed only 27 first-quarter points all season coming into this game. Lee Tiffin, 52-yard field goal moments ago. It's the first Alabama kickoff of the game. Castile on the return. He scored the game's first touchdown. Castile out to the 24-yard line. 18-yard return. Brian Johnson off to a tremendous start. 10 of 14, 139 yards. The Utes, Darrell, 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns. Each of their drives has taken less than 2 minutes.
It's been impressive to watch, and it doesn't matter what Alabama does defensively. That opening series, Utah came out and went no huddle. Now, to counter that, Alabama has been searching for a way to defend this offense. They have not been able to find a personnel group that they feel comfortable with.
5 receivers set on 1st and 10 from the 24. Johnson complete. Freddie Brown, his 4th reception. Let's check in with Carissa.
Utah sideline. I've got to say that Brian Johnson is as cool and collected off the field as he is on. All these other guys are yelling, fired up. Brian just calmly walks over to the bench, puts on his headset, and acts like this is exactly what he had envisioned coming into tonight's game.
And Carissa, he had a chance to experience what a game would be like when the Utes attended the New Orleans Saints game on Sunday. Johnson complete to Freddie Brown for a Utah first down. Gain of 11 out to the 40.
Intangibles through the roof for Brian Johnson. And they talked about his confidence in the pregame show. You know, you look at him, he doesn't have the framework of a prototypical NFL quarterback, 6'1", 200. But, I mean, the confidence and everything else he brings to the position, fantastic.
Johnson taken down back at the 35-yard line by Bobby Greenwood, his team-leading 5th sack this season.
First time they've gotten some pressure and gotten the sack on Brian Johnson. This offensive line of Utah has been very, very good up until this point. A little bit of pressure by Ali Sharif on the outside. Brian Johnson tries to step up inside, but nowhere to go.
First negative play for the Utes tonight. Second down and 15. Asiata in the backfield. 4 wide receivers. From the 35. Johnson Could not find anyone. And then throws it in the vicinity of Asiata. 3rd and 15 upcoming.
On the snap before, they bring a little bit of pressure, and they get to Brian Johnson. That time they drop out play coverage, and he doesn't have anywhere to go with the football. Alabama finally kind of finding that comfort zone after several series where they just never really seem to be in sync trying to match up with this Utah offense.
An Alabama defense that has allowed only 13 points per game, 6th in the nation. Behind 21-3. Utes must get to midfield for a first down. Jeremy Brooks taken down at the 41-yard line by Sharif. Utes will punt for the first time tonight.
Good series by the Alabama defense. They get a negative play on the sack, force some long yardage situations. Good coverage right there. Ali Sharif running with Jeremy Brooks. Makes a good open field tackle.
You think Louis Sakota thought he would kick 3 extra points before his first punt?
No. Well, no, I didn't. I'm sure Louis Sakota did. Absolutely. I don't think I'm going to punt tonight at all.
3-time Mountain West Conference Special Teams Player of the Year. Takes an Alabama bounce. Rolling into the end zone. 58-yard punt by Sakota. Our game summary brought to you by Ford. Terrific job by the Utah defense. 2 touchdown passes for Brian Johnson. Alabama at 21-0 earlier faced their largest deficit of the season. Our first look at Mark Ingram in the backfield. Off the play fake. Wilson rolling right. Could not find anyone downfield. Gain 6 as we check in downstairs with Chris Myers. Chris?
Kenny, the offensive line taking another hit for Alabama on the left side makeshift. Mike Johnson, the starter, with a right ankle injury, taken to the locker room for x-rays and excruciating pain. He is very questionable. Of course, the team suspending Andre Smith, so he's at home watching this game. And just noticing here on the Alabama sideline, Darrell and Kenny, a defensive stop, a field goal. They hope this drive will help the tide continue to turn for Alabama.
All right, thanks, Chris. 2nd down and 3. 2 tight ends. This is Ingram. Mark Ingram, a true freshman out of Flint, Michigan, son of the former New York Giant. Had a terrific season, over 700 yards on the ground, 12 rushing touchdowns for Ingram.
And part of that great freshman class of Alabama, Mark Ingram, Julio Jones, Dante Hightower. I mean, this is going to be a good football team for years to come.
16 true freshmen have played in a game this season for Alabama. They have only 9 scholarship seniors, fewest in the nation. Third down and 1. Ingram. And Ingram has a first down out to the 31-yard line.
I think Chris Myers makes a great point down there on the sideline with Alabama, trying to stop this Utah momentum. You get a defensive stop, you get a field goal, now you got the ball back, trying to continue to build on that, kind of slow this momentum that's just been all Utah from the start of the game.
From the 31, off the play fake. Wilson complete. First down, Julio Jones at the 47-yard line. 17-yard pass play.
Julio Jones coming out of the slot. Little lean to the inside, breaks out to the corner. Sean Smith has to respect the route going deep on the sideline. Good design of the play, good execution by John Parker Wilson.
Wilson out of the shotgun from the 48, dumps it off, and Ingram takes it down to the Utes' 43-yard line. before he was tackled by Kruger. Gain of 9.
Nice little changeup on the screen pass right there. If Utah is going to use their quickness, if they're going to bring pressure, mix in a little bit of the screen game. Here comes the pressure up the middle. Slip Mark Ingram out to the outside. Nice gain on first down.
Second down and 2. Crimson Tide on the move, trailing 21-3. Ingram up the middle. Close to an Alabama first down.
I was surprised to hear from the Utah coaching staff as we watched Alabama and Florida in preparation for this game in the SEC championship game to kind of get a feel for what Utah was going to do offensively. We found out that really, Kyle Whittingham felt that they were more similar into what Florida did defensively, along with Gary Anderson. So they got a lot of information from that Florida game on the defensive side of the ball, and they have come out and played a great game up until this point defensively.
Florida's head coach, Urban Meyer, of course, the former Utah head coach. Kyle Whittingham was on his staff. Play action. Wilson going deep. And it's bobbled. And dropped. Sean Smith on the coverage. Nikita Stover, the intended receiver. Good effort by Stover.
Well, you're running the ball, you're running play action. Now you take your shot. Nikita Stover has to make that catch. Sean Smith gets there, gets his hands in the way. Keep your concentration, make the catch. We've seen all the big plays being made up until this point tonight by Utah. Brent Castile, a big catch along the sideline. We've seen several big catches from the Utah offense. Nikita Stover with an opportunity there to get one for Alabama. Can't finish the play.
Stover only 5 receptions all season. 8th play of the drive. Ingram found a big hole, puts up a first down, and is finally tackled at the Utah 29-yard line by Robert Johnson. Ingram gains 13.
They got some guys in some different spots there on that Alabama offensive line, but watch what they do here tonight. A little bit on this play, a little bit of pressure right there. Look at that hole open up. Nice job by Marlon Davis, the right guard, pulling around and sealing the inside.
Again, it's Drew Davis now at left tackle. John Michael Boswell, the freshman at right tackle. First and 10 from the 29. This is Ingram. And Ingram takes it down to the 24-yard line. Gain of 5. Craig Newman brought him down. So Mark Ingram seeing the bulk of the work on this drive. Glenn Coffey averaging only 3 yards per carry today. Ingram, 5 carries, 23 yards. Alabama with the bulk of the yardage in the second quarter. Second down and 6. Wilson wrapped up. Down he goes. Back at the 30-yard line.
Nick Walker gets tripped up on his release as he's coming off the line of scrimmage. Number 88 on the left side. Watch him get tripped up. As he releases, that's where John Parker Wilson wanted to go. They continue to get pressure on Alabama. They have dropped back 11 times, and there's been a pressure or a hit on the quarterback 10 of those 11 times. So that quickness, that pressure that Nick Saban was worried about has proven to be an issue up until this point this evening.
Second sack for Keppa Geisen, making his first start of the season. Third down and 11. Wilson fires, and it is nearly intercepted. Terrell Cole, a senior out of Long Beach, California, with the chance for the pick.
Boy, John Parker Wilson got lucky on that throw. Should not have made this throw. Terrell Cole is in perfect position to intercept that pass. Very fortunate to have a field goal attempt coming up right now.
Tiffin hit from 52 earlier. This will be a 47-yard attempt. Placed down by Fitzgerald. And Tiffin's kick is wide to the left. No good from 47 yards out. Kyle Whittingham celebrates. The Utah lead remains 21-3. Kyle Whittingham in his 15th season at Utah signed a new 5-year contract earlier this week, saying miss it, and miss it is exactly what happened. Lee Tiffin wide left, so the Utah lead remains 18 points.
Let's not forget, Utah deferred to start this game. They're going to get the ball in the second half.
Johnson's pass is short, intended for Braden Godfrey. Godfrey has one of the Utah touchdowns. Utes scored on their first 3 drives of the game. Second and 10. The toss to Darrell Mack. Back out to the 33. Gain of 3. Third down and 7 upcoming. These great overhead shots tonight brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV.
What a great innovation for the viewers at home. That camera gives you some of the best shots you can ever get during the course of a game.
We saw that gaping hole open up for Mark Ingram on the last Alabama drive, thanks to Cable Cam.
About as close as you can get to taking a viewer down onto the field.
Third down and 7. Timeout called.
Timeout, Alabama.
By the Crimson Tide.
First half. Timeout on the field.
They had only 10 men on the field. Tonight's game is sponsored by PCS. We've played just over 24 minutes here in New Orleans. A stunning first quarter. Utah took a 21-0 lead. It's now 21-3. Third down and 7 for the Utes from their own 33. Quick release by Johnson. It is nearly intercepted by Justin Woodall. Dante Hightower applied the pressure on Johnson.
But yeah, they brought everybody up to the line of scrimmage. Finally got some pressure on Brian Johnson. Impacted that throw. Justin Woodall, almost an opportunity for the interception. Good timeout on that last series with only 10 men on the field. Make sure you've got all 11 out there. These were critical downs right here for Alabama.
First time the Utes have gone 3 and out tonight. Sakota handles the place kicking and the punting chores. He's one of the best in the nation. The second punt tonight taken at the 27 by Arenas. Arenas with 5 career punt return touchdowns. Arenas down the sideline. This is going to be number 6. Javier Arenas, 6th career punt return touchdown, extending his school record 73-yard return.
That was all Javier Arenas. There was some good blocking right at the point of the catch that allowed him to get started. But after that, that's just a great effort by number 28. There's a guy stepping up to make a huge play to try and get this game turned around to Alabama.
We spoke with the punter, Sakota, yesterday. He told us he was going to try and angle his punts away from Arenas. 73 yards on the return. The 9th non-offensive touchdown of the season scored by the Crimson Tide. First in the nation, 21-10 Utah. Longest punt return for a touchdown in the history of the All-State Sugar Bowl. Javier Arenas, 73 yards. Tipton's kickoff taken at the 6 by Reed.
Here's that effort by Javier Arenas. Watch this part right here. Luis Sakota right there. I think he's got to think that Javier Arenas is going to get tackled in that mass of players. Kind of gets out of position a little bit. Allows Javier to get to the sideline. But watch as he comes up here right at the end. Not expecting him to come through that pack on his feet.
Of his career. So a 21-point deficit has been cut down to 11 from the 26-yard line. Johnson's pass is caught by Brown. For Freddie Brown, his 6th reception of tonight's game. Coming up, the Southwest Airlines halftime show with Chris, Jimmy, Barry, and Eddie. They will have first half highlights and analysis. That's coming up on the Southwest Airlines halftime show. First and 10 from the 36-yard line. Under 5 minutes remaining, second quarter. Asiata losing the football. Came loose at the 46-yard line. And the Utes retain possession.
Great effort by Matt Asiata. Again, good job blocking up front by that offensive line of Utah. Watch the end of the run, though. Get that ball secure. Fighting for those extra yards. There it goes, punched out.
And recovered by the right guard, Robert Conley. With the play clock winding down.
Timeout.
The Utes
Utah.
call timeout.
First charge in the first half.
4:07 remaining, second quarter. First timeout taken by Utah. Tim Tebow, the Florida quarterback, a candidate for the AT&T All-America Player of the Year. To vote for Tim Tebow, text your vote to 51234 on your AT&T wireless phone or go to foxallamerica.com. You can win a trip to next year's national championship game.
Pretty nice group of quarterbacks right there.
Tim Tebow, the Heisman Trophy winner last year, will go up against this year's Heisman Trophy winner, Sam Bradford at Oklahoma, in the FedEx BCS National Championship game from Miami next Thursday night. Alabama is hoping to play in Miami next Thursday. They fell short in the SEC title game.
They said they'd put that behind them, but I don't know if they did the way this game started tonight by Utah.
Inside handoff to Mack, and he's bottled up. Back at the 46-yard line by Rolando McClain and a host of his teammates. Utah now letting the clock run down. They were in the no huddle for most of the first quarter. Took a 21-0 lead. Second down and 11. From the 45-yard line. Johnson gets rid of it quickly, and the catch is made by Brown, who has been Johnson's favorite target tonight. 9 yards for Brown. his 7th reception, team leading 72nd of the season.
He's taking some big hits tonight, but again, some great protection by the guys up front, along with the running backs in the backfield, giving Brian Johnson the time to find his receivers down the field.
Third down and 2. Asiata. It will depend on the spot.
They've got him short right now.
Asiata scored the second Utes touchdown out of the Asiata formation. Just short. 4th down and half a yard.
What a big play right here. A big play at the end of this half. Can Utah sustain, keep the momentum? Surprised to see it. They're getting the ball to start the second half. That was a design play to try and draw Alabama offsides. The officials trying to sort it out right now.
Dead ball. False start. On the offense. 5-yard penalty.
We've seen him do it on defense. This is going to be a sudden move by the offense now. The entire group, they come to the line of scrimmage. Now watch them reset right here. Everybody's going to go in and reset to a formation. And they draw Alabama offsides with contact.
Kyle Whittingham could not believe it. He will send out the punting unit.
That is something you work about. You design that play for that situation. They execute it. The officials call it against Utah. Now Kyle Whittingham is going to punt to create field position for Alabama on the last drive.
Timeout taken by Utah. Their second.
30-second timeout.
In that situation, it can't be an abrupt move into that reset on the formation. And I think what the officials talked about was the fact that when everybody reset, they reset very abruptly. So this is a design play by Utah. You look at the wide splits. Now everybody resets. You see how abrupt that movement was? Very difficult for Terrence Cody not to be influenced by that sudden movement, that abrupt movement by the offensive line.
That is why the penalty was called against Utah. 1:34 remaining, second quarter. Again, the Southwest Airlines halftime show coming up with Chris Rose, Jimmy Johnson, Barry Switzer, and Eddie George. They will have first half highlights and analysis. That's all coming up on the Southwest Airlines halftime show. Remember, Arenas returns Dakota's last punt, 73 yards for a touchdown. Dakota from his own 39, end over end. Fair catch called for at the 13 by Arenas. So the Alabama Crimson Tide, who have regained some of the momentum, get the ball back with 1:27 remaining in the first half. Brent Castile, the first Utah touchdown. Then Matt Asiata, 14-0 Utes. Johnson, 18 yards to Godfrey, 21-0. After a Tiffin field goal, Arenas' 6th career punt return touchdown.
Great individual effort by Javier Arenas to really grab the momentum back for Alabama. It had been all Utah. They hit the field, took control of this game. Alabama had no idea what hit them.
John Parker Wilson and the Crimson Tide start from their own 14-yard line. Off the play fake to Coffee. Wilson to a wide open Julio Jones. Jones still on his feet. Finally brought down at the 44-yard line. A 30-yard pass play.
Like you said, Kenny, absolutely wide open on that play. You have to know where Julio Jones is in the formation as a defender. He's at the top of the screen now on the inside. You have to know where he is if you're with Utah.
Again, it's Jones out to the 49. Alabama with 2 timeouts. And they call one here.
I really sensed a confidence from Utah. They felt that if they could control Julio Jones, they like their matchups with everybody else. Julio's on the outside. This is his bread and butter route, the deep in route. If you're going to have success stopping Alabama's passing game, you've got to be able to stop that play.
Crimson Tide with 1 timeout remaining. They began this drive on their own 14. Wilson looking, he throws, and again it's Jones at the Utah 45, his 4th reception. Alabama with 1 timeout from the 45 on first down. Wilson in trouble, and a diving attempt is made at the near sideline by Darius Hanks.
What a great effort by John Parker Wilson. I thought he was just trying to get away from the rush and was going to throw the ball away to avoid the sack. He makes a heck of a throw, gives Darius Hanks an opportunity to make a play. Watch it. I mean, he's going to be moving to his left. Now, this is difficult for a right-handed quarterback. Look at him re-square up and get that ball downfield with an opportunity for Darius Hanks. Heck of a throw by John Parker Wilson.
Second and 10 from the 45. Play action. Again rolling to his left. Penalty flag. Wilson now throwing it downfield. It is picked off. Robert Johnson had it and then dropped it. No interception. Penalty marker back at midfield.
Holding on the offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's on the left tackle, Drew Davis.
Well, John Parker Wilson needs to go to Julio Jones right now and thank him, because he just saved him from a terrible decision. Utah is only going to rush 3 defenders. They're dropping 8. There's your hold on the inside. Now he moves outside. No reason to make this throw. Watch the effort by Julio Jones. Robert Johnson has the interception. Look at him come in there and take the ball away from him. Great job by Julio Jones.
Johnson had an interception earlier, which set up Utah's 2nd touchdown. 2nd down and 20 following the penalty. Crimson Tide from their own 45 as Wilson dumps it off to Coffey. Coffey brings it all the way down to the 43. He gains 12. Terrell Cole made the tackle. Alabama will use their final timeout. 17 seconds remaining, 2nd quarter. Line of scrimmage, the Utah 43.
I like that play call on the last one. Get a big chunk of those yards back. Put yourself in a relatively manageable 3rd down situation. You're inside 10 yards. Again, Nick Saban was concerned about the 3rd and long situations, the obvious passing downs, called them loose plays, and the pressure and the quickness of Utah was something he was concerned about in those situations.
Third down and 8 from the Utah 43.
Julio Jones out at the top of the screen.
Crimson Tide out of timeouts. Wilson moving to his left. Again, could not find anyone downfield. Clock continues to run. Now there's a penalty marker, a late flag thrown in the defensive secondary.
The big thing here is going to be getting the time back on the clock from when those flags were thrown. How much time would Alabama have on the 4th down? Or is it a penalty that gets them a first down?
Nick Saban would like to know.
I wouldn't want to be talking to Coach Saban right now.
After time expired for the first half, personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the offense, number 4. We will enforce that foul. Start of the 3rd period. The half is over.
Penalty is called on wide receiver Marquise Mays.
So not only does Utah get the ball to start the second half, but Alabama is going to be kicking off 15 yards backed up.
Nick Saban receiving an explanation from the referee Scott Novak. A stunning first quarter. Utah took a 21-0 lead. It's now 21-10. The Southwest Airlines halftime show is up next. Welcome back to the 75th All-State Sugar Bowl from the Louisiana Superdome. At the half, Utah leading Alabama by the score of 21-10. As we welcome you back inside the broadcast booth, Kenny Albert along with Darryl Johnston. A stunning first quarter as Utah scored 3 touchdowns on their first 3 possessions. All 3 drives under 2 minutes.
It was very impressive to watch as the game unfolded, and Utah comes out. They get into the no-huddle offense, go right down the field, and then Alabama is kind of chasing them for the remainder of that first quarter. But in the second quarter, they made some adjustments. They got some things done. They weathered the storm. It's 21-10 now. I thought Nick Saban and his staff did a great job not panicking in that situation. They played themselves back in by halftime, still missed a few opportunities, and some big things that they're going to have to address in the second half that we'll get into.
Alabama scored their touchdown on special teams, the 73-yard punt return for a touchdown by Javier Arenas. Our first half numbers brought to you by Dodge.
Well, you can kind of see there just what happened in that first quarter. The Utah Utes 150 yards in the first quarter, only 50 in the second. You can see that transition of Alabama hanging in there.
4 sacks for the Utes as we check in downstairs with Chris Myers. Chris?
Kenny, Nick Saban spent the half trying to figure out why his team, as he said, lacked intensity in that opening quarter. Combined with the speed and efficiency of Utah, they got in a hole, and that couldn't have been because they were out partying all week. He had the curfew. He took him to a movie last night before the game, Valkyrie. That's the Tom Cruise movie. Not exactly a pick-me-up, but that's what his team needs. And he challenged his team at the half and said, what is your identity and what is the identity of Alabama football? He will be more aggressive making calls. He made some adjustments himself on the defensive calls in the second quarter, and that helped slow down the Utah attack. For more on Utah, let's go to the other sideline and Carissa Thompson.
Well, guys, catching up with Coach Whittingham at halftime, I said, hey, you started out just the way you wanted. How do you finish that way? He said, continue to stop the run, pressure on the quarterback. And I mentioned Julio Jones. I mentioned how he got some open looks towards the end of that second half. He said, yeah, that all came in our zone coverage. We got to do a better job on zone drops. But I'll tell you one thing, that halftime was way too long for him and Brian Johnson. They were pacing back and forth right outside the locker room. They can't wait to get out here.
And they get the ball first, and Brian Johnson's got to be excited. And remember, there was that penalty on that last play of the half. So look at Alabama kicking off from the 15-yard line to start this second half. Utah should have great field position.
Utah deferred after they won the opening coin toss, so they get the ball first here in the second half. Brent Castile on the return, and Castile takes it out to the 45-yard line. Now our Taco Bell impact players of tonight's game.
Well, really, Brian Johnson has just done an outstanding job as the quarterback for the Utah Utes. Great decision-making, great accuracy with the football. When it's not there, he's pulled it down, moved the chains with some runs. You can see the 2 touchdown passes. And Javier Arenas, I mean, the game is kind of hanging in the balance for Alabama right there, and just a great individual effort on that 73-yard punt return.
Terrific field position thanks to that 15-yard penalty at the end of the half. And the punt or the kickoff return by Castile. Penalty markers prior to the snap.
Prior to the snap, ball start on the offense. It was 66, 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's on the right guard, Robert Conley. Not what Kyle Whittingham had in mind to start the second half.
And they did such a good job of not having negative plays in that first half. And here to start the second half, after getting great field position, they have a little 5-yarder that puts them at 1st and 15.
From their own 40. Johnson steps up, loses the football, and it's recovered by Bobby Greenwood of the Crimson Tide. And he returns it to the Utah 30, the first Utah turnover.
What a huge missed opportunity by Utah. They get great field position to start this drive. They have the 5-yard penalty and then a turnover on the second play. Dante Hightower, the linebacker, number 30, has moved to the outside as a rusher. One of the changements, one of the adjustments they made, instead of playing him at the inside linebacker spot, there he is. They put him on the outside, and he's been rushing. That's one of the adjustments that Nick Saban made in that second quarter. It pays dividends right away here in the second half.
The play is under review. Question is, was Johnson's arm moving forward?
I just think he's moving forward to avoid the rush. Again, Dante Hightower coming in. It was going back, but it wasn't coming forward.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Fumble recovered by Alabama. First down.
Hightower forced it. The recovery by the senior Greenwood.
Now, can this Utah defense do something that Alabama was worried about offensively? Jim McElwain said what they do, we get down into that scoring position and they will force you out of field goal position. So they're at the 30 right now, not much farther to go to really be in a real easy field goal situation. Can Utah knock them back?
Pass is caught by Julio Jones, gain of 7. Robert Johnson, Sean Smith on the tackle, 5th reception for the freshman Jones. Second and 3. Alabama looking to capitalize on the first Utah miscue. Coffee gains a yard down to the 22-yard line.
Good hustle down the line by Keppa Geisen, chasing that play down from the backside.
Darryl, this is the deepest penetration by the Alabama offense today.
Well, they've gotten down into this part of the field, but they've kind of malfunctioned once they've gotten to this point. Once they've gotten near the 30-yard line, they've struggled with some plays, haven't been able to cash in and move deeper into that red zone.
A 52-yard field goal and an attempt from 47 earlier. From the 23, Coffee looks to turn the corner. It will depend on the spot. Looks like Coffee did pick up the first down, took a hard hit from the strong safety, Joe Dale. Crimson Tide are in the red zone for the first time tonight.
Little toss sweep out to the left. Trying to get Paul Kruger sealed. Joe Dale coming up on run support, but gets there a little bit late. Glenn Coffey able to stretch out for that first down.
First and 10 from the Utah 19. This drive started on the 30. Following the turnover. John Parker Wilson looking left. He throws. Intended for Julio Jones. Sean Smith on the coverage.
Well, you heard Carissa Thompson talk about Julio Jones as they came out for the second half and talked about zone drops, now being in good position on their zone drops. Now they've got Sean Smith manned up on Julio Jones. I thought we would have seen more of that in the first half. They felt confident and lining up Sean Smith against Julio Jones, maybe even matching him across the field and in formation.
Second and 10 from the Utah 19. Wilson throws. The catch is made by the tight end Walker. And Nick Walker takes it all the way down to the Utah 5-yard line, setting up first and goal. 13 yards from Wilson to Walker.
Good quick decision by John Parker Wilson. Take what's there. Nick Walker just on a little hook route right there in that open spot in the zone. Let him catch the ball and get north and south and get what he can.
Coffey in the backfield. On first and goal, this is Coffey. Inside the 5 and tackled at the 4-yard line by Kruger and Nisi. Second and goal. Two tight ends. Coffey in the backfield. Second and goal from the 4. John Parker Wilson to the end zone. Touchdown, Glenn Coffey.
Nice little red zone call right there by Alabama. Gets John Parker Wilson out on the perimeter very quickly. He's got a run pass option. Glenn Coffey pops open in the flat, just dumps it to him for 6.
First receiving touchdown for Coffey this season, tipping the extra point. The Utah lead is now 21-17. Wilson to Coffey. Crimson Tide capitalize on the Brian Johnson turnover.
Check this out.
13 consecutive points. David Reed. Reed out to the 30.
Let's go back and see how Glenn Coffey got so open. They're going to bring so much traffic across the formation. And what they're doing is they're isolating the linebacker in coverage right here, Mo Neal, on Glenn Coffey. Watch everything he has to run through trying to find his way. And there you go. Look at all that green space out in front. John Parker Wilson, run pass option. He's got Glenn Coffey open in the flat. Nice play design with the motion and the crossing routes and bringing the back into the flat.
Alabama within 4. Johnson and the Utes start from their own 29. Johnson steps up. He throws and the catch is made by Freddie Brown. It's a first down and more. Brown into Alabama territory, and he is finally dragged down by Greenwood. Brown's 8th reception. He gains 33 yards.
Another great individual effort. Freddie Brown, this should be stopped for a 9-yard gain. A little hook pattern right there. Kareem Jackson, missed tackle. Missed tackle. Knocks his own player off. Here comes Bobby Greenwood. Missed tackle, finally gets him down.
From the 38 on first down. Johnson again looking for Brown. Kareem Jackson on the coverage. Big night for Brown, the senior, out of Laverne, California. Second team All Mountain West Conference. Nick Saban's 3rd trip to the Sugar Bowl. Brought LSU to the Sugar Bowl twice. Won a national championship here. As Johnson swings it out, looking for Mack.
Almost a big play to Darrell Mack on the outside. They're going to bring pressure up inside, but they're fine. They've got the right play called. You're going to get the pressure in here to the middle, but they're going to get the back outside quick. Another pick If that play had time to develop, if he would have been able to get it to Darrell Mack, that was going to be a nice gain down the sideline.
Third down and 10. Alabama fans up on their feet. Utah 0 for their last 3 on third down. Johnson making the connection with Godfrey. And Braden Godfrey picks up a first down, a gain of 11.
Nice hand-to-eye coordination by Braden Godfrey. As soon as he came out of his break, that ball was on top of him. He got his hands up, made the catch.
First and 10 from the Alabama 28. Again, it's Godfrey. Down to the 23-yard line, picks up 5 more. Justin Woodall made the tackle.
Well, this tempo right here got everything started on their opening series of the game, going back to that no-huddle, hurry-up. Alabama now choosing to go with pressure as opposed to the first part of the game. They were going with coverage.
Utah back in the spread, 2nd and 5 from the 23. Johnson dumps it off. He was looking for Mack. McClain got a piece of it. We asked Brian Johnson about playing indoors. He had never played in a dome before. Came to the Saints game with his teammates on Sunday. Checked out the lighting. Felt the lighting would be an issue with the ball in the air. He said, I got a good feel for the crowd noise at the Superdome as well.
Everybody thinks about the noise, but everybody forgets about the lights. And they really wanted an opportunity to get in here earlier in the week to be able to run some pass patterns and throw the ball as the receivers look back into those lights that are on the ceilings.
Play clock at 2. Utah took too much time.
Prior to the snap, delay game. Offense, after a penalty. Third down.
Those opposite ends of the spectrum start off with a hurry up and then get called for a delay game.
Third down and 10 from the Alabama 28. Johnson, quick release, and the catch is made by Reed. He breaks free. Touchdown, David Reed. 28 yards.
Fundamentals on this drive by the Alabama Crimson Tide. Poor tackling led to that touchdown. The first play by Freddie Brown. Missed tackles, gives a 30-plus yard gain, and then there to finish the drive on the touchdown. Again, and the same player, Kareem Jackson, misses a critical tackle.
6th touchdown reception of the season for Reed, a transfer from Pasadena City College. Set a junior college national record last season with 111 receptions into the end zone to extend the Utah lead. It's now 28-17 Utes. Seven-play, 71-yard drive. All 4 touchdown drives for Utah tonight, Darryl, under 2 minutes.
Giddy up.
That last drive, a minute 37. Javier Arenas down at the 29.
Let's go back and take a look at that touchdown by Utah. You're going to have 3 receivers to the outside. We're going to run 3 slants. We're going to have a slant here, but this backer is going to drop into that zone. We're going to have a slant here that gets jumped by this defender. Here's our last slant, and I want you to watch where the ball is thrown by Brian Johnson. Down in a way where Kareem Jackson can't make a play, spins out of the tackle. 6 points, Utah. Great response by that Ute offense.
John Parker Wilson and the Alabama Crimson Tide back to work from their own 29. On first down, Coffee. Coffee gains 5. out to the 34.
Well, here's the great thing about that last drive by Alabama. They were on a short field. Now they've got to go the long haul. Well, here's the changeup that's happened because of the injury early in the game. All we have is Antoine Caldwell and Marlon Davis in their normal positions. Everything else has been shifted around. A lot of that pressure coming from the right side, right over the top of our freshman, John Michael Boswell. Tough duty to ask a freshman to get in there in this game and be effective against a very quick Utah front.
2nd and 6, off the fake. Wilson escapes and fights his way back. Kruger and Misi with the pressure. Wilson sacked 4 times in the first half. Sacked only 17 times all season.
Well, you can't put a tight end on Paul Kruger. That's a lot to ask of Travis McCall. You've got to know what your protection schemes are and how they're going to match up against Utah. That's a favorable matchup for Paul Kruger going one-on-one with a tight end.
Season high 5th sack for Utah. Wilson on 3rd and 10. Coffey stays on his feet. He's close to a first down. Took a big hit from Stevenson Sylvester. And it looks like Coffey did pick up the first.
We have had some great individual efforts during the course of this game. This one by Glenn Coffey to be able to get the first down. Watch this hit. First contact made. Mike Wright spins him around. Here comes your safety, your linebacker, Stevenson Sylvester. But a little bit too late. Good effort by Glenn Coffey to get the yards for the first.
On first down, Coffey. Stretching across to the 42-yard line. Joe Dale made the tackle. Midway through the 3rd quarter here in New Orleans, the 75th All-State Sugar Bowl. Kenny Albert, Darrell Johnston, Chris Myers, and Carissa Thompson. 2nd and 10 from the 40. Wilson to Earl Alexander. His first catch today. And the sophomore from Phoenix City, Alabama, gains 5. R.J. Stanford made the tackle. 3rd down and 5 coming up.
Well, tough evening for John Parker Wilson right now. Really getting roughed up by that Utah defense. 14-22, 150, 1 TD, 1 interception, but he has been under pressure all night long.
Sacked a season high 5 times. Thanks in part to that reshuffled Alabama offensive line. Without the suspended Andre Smith, without Mike Johnson, who started the game at left tackle. Injured his ankle, will not return. Wilson for Nikita Stover, penalty marker. Bryce McCain on the coverage.
Pass interference on a defense number 1. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
Pretty competitive down the sideline. Kyle Whittingham does not like that call. And that's Glenn Coffey on the sideline in some obvious pain. Number 38 comes across in blitz protection. There's the end of the play. They let him go. They let him battle down the sideline, but the call was made at the end.
Coffey struggled to get off the field. Being tended to on the sidelines, replaced by Ingram. And Mark Ingram gains 4 down to the 36-yard line. Tackle made by Greg Newman.
Boy, he is still down. He had lost his helmet when he came off the field. Can't tell what the training staff is working on.
So the Crimson Tide have lost 2 key players from their offense tonight. 2nd down and 7. Wilson takes off. Wilson down to the 32-yard line. Now, does he get his athleticism from his mom, who was an Alabama cheerleader, or his dad, who was a third baseman who spent 3 years in the Boston Red Sox system?
I think a little bit of both. A little bit of both there. That was a great decision. So the quick decision by John Parker Wilson to pull that ball down, put him in a nice 3rd and short situation.
Dad Parker, drafted by the Red Sox back in 1980. Out of West Alabama. 3rd down and 2. Crimson Tide send in a fullback, Baron Huber. And this is Ingram running behind Huber. And it does not look like he has enough.
Now, he got spun around right when he went in. He was not even able to keep his body forward and get a lean. Somebody got Mark Ingram spun around as he went into the pile.
Huber, the fullback, leading the way. Fullbacks used to have a bigger role in the Sugar Bowl, as you can attest to. 14 carries, 50 yards back in January of '88.
Yeah, we're lucky to even get a few of them on the field here this evening, only in the short yardage situations.
So a 3rd long field goal attempt. Tiffin hit from 52, missed from 47. This a 49-yard attempt. And Tiffin is unable to hit. So he is now 1 for 3 tonight for the Crimson Tide. The Utah lead remains 11. Steve Smith of the Carolina Panthers made a huge catch here on Sunday. Former wide receiver at the University of Utah. He and his wife Angie have donated $250,000 to the university. The Steve and Angie Smith Wide Receiver Scholarship. The recipient this year, Darryl, is David Reed, who scored the last Utah touchdown as Asiata gains 1. So 1 wide receiver every season, benefiting from the very generous donation made by Steve and Angie Smith.
Great giving back to the school, and Dave Reed, having a big impact in this game tonight. And I want you to know that Steve Smith would have loved to have been in this offense when he was at Utah. Could you imagine the numbers he would have put up?
Wow. Steve Smith and the Panthers will play on Fox a week from Saturday. The slant is caught by Brooks. Jeremy Brooks picks up a 1st down. Out to the 46-yard line, a gain of 15.
Tony Siragusa educated me about this quick screen play on the outside. It's actually a cutback play. The ball's going to come quick to the outside. Now watch where it's run. It's run back into the middle of the field. I always thought it was something that you were trying to bounce out and get on the perimeter. And Tony's like, no, you're trying to take advantage of a defensive line that's not getting back and retracing. It's like a cutback run into the middle.
The Goose will be on the field a week from Saturday, watching the Carolina Panthers and their opponent in the divisional round. 8 o'clock Saturday, January 10th on Fox. Johnson, a pump fake, then he throws, and Godfrey inside the 45 to the 44 looks to have another Utah 1st down.
Alabama electing to play man-to-man coverage. We've seen them miss a couple of tackles already in this half that gave up that touchdown on the last drive. Kareem Jackson missed a big one on Freddie Brown's first catch. Missed the tackle on David Reed for the touchdown.
From the 44, Johnson, and a diving catch made by Godfrey at the Alabama 39. 6 yards for Godfrey.
Again, the ball placement of Brian Johnson, down and away. Oh, that one's going to come back. We're reviewing every play. That one was on the ground. Braden Godfrey couldn't get down and get that one. That one should be coming back.
Also on the ground, Darryl, is Brandon Fanny.
On his Fanny.
Yes.
Brandon Fanny right there at the bottom of your screen, engaged. Nice cut block by Matt Asiata, runs right through that thigh pad. That's about as well as you can coach it up right there. That's a nice little thigh bruise on Brandon Fanny. And they are taking a look at the catch, but Brandon Fanny, one of those kind of hybrid defenders that we see, down lineman, but also can drop back in coverage. He would be a key element as Alabama tries to sort through on how to match up against this Utah offense. You can see Braden Godfrey couldn't get those hands underneath, so that one will come back. He has been good tonight. Brian Johnson, very calm, confident. Look at his demeanor right now. He's unflappable. I mean, I talked to him during the week. Carissa Thompson said, you know, as cool as he is off the field, he is on the field. And she's down there on the field having an opportunity to see that in person. But, you know, we had a chance to sit down and talk to him. We all walked away extremely impressed with Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson still chats with Alex Smith every week, the San Francisco 49ers quarterback, former first overall pick out of the University of Utah. Johnson, a teammate during his freshman campaign.
The ball hit the ground. Incomplete pass. It'll be second down and 10. Please reset the game clock to 2 minutes, 42 seconds. 2:42 on the game clock.
So no catch for Godfrey. It will be second and 10. The great overhead shots tonight brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Johnson with 282 yards in the air, most against Alabama this season. Johnson's season high 305 against Michigan. On second and 10, he fires. Again, looking for Godfrey. Rashad Johnson on the coverage.
Brian Johnson looking into the center of the field, just beyond the outstretched hands of Braden Godfrey, unable to connect on the last two passes.
Godfrey with 6 receptions, 75 yards and a touchdown. Utah leading by 11. Third down and 10. Johnson over the top. Terrific tackle made by Rashad Johnson. Brooks brought down at the 39.
Alabama brings pressure play, straight man-to-man defense. They're getting to Brian Johnson now. He's standing in the pocket delivering those passes, but they're getting rushers to him. They should have been able to pick that one up.
Javier Arenas, 73-yard punt return for a touchdown earlier. Louis Sakota back at his own 46. Punting from midfield. Sakota put a little too much on it. So Alabama trailing by 11 will start from their own 20-yard line. Alabama playing in their record 56th bowl game. Their record-tying 13th Sugar Bowl. LSU has played in 13 Sugar Bowls as well. Alabama trailing by 11. Play action. Wilson complete to Julio Jones on first down. Jones gains 8 out to the 28-yard line as we check in with Chris Myers. Chris?
Glenn Coffey had keeled over in that last series, and they didn't have him on short yardage when they failed to make it. He was kicked to the side, had the wind knocked out of him. He expects to return possibly in this series, but he won't be 100%. And Kenny and Darrell, that's something Nick Saban told his team at halftime. Our identity is to be physical and tough, and so far we haven't seen enough of that. The speed and quickness of Utah has had us on our heels.
Well, that was the big matchup, Chris, coming into this. How would that undersized quick front of Utah hold up against this big physical Alabama offense? They've done a great job.
John Parker Wilson going deep through the hands of Alexander. There is a flag. Bryce McCain on the coverage, tracking Earl Alexander downfield.
Well, Bryce McCain sees the flag. He's not arguing his point.
Interference on a defense number 1. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Kyle Whittingham doesn't like it. He's got his hands in the air. We'll see what happens in the end coming out of the slot in the trail position. I got a little tug right there. A little handful of shirts slowing him down. Bryce McCain already knows those little subtle tricks.
6th Utah penalty. Under a minute remaining, 3rd quarter. Wilson, near side, complete. Gain of 6 for the tight end Brad Smelly. Freshman out of Tuscaloosa, his 7th reception this season. Glenn Coffey still on the sidelines. Ingram, the lone back. 2nd down and 4 from the 49. Mark Ingram. And Ingram bottled up, does not make it back to the line of scrimmage. Derek Shelby, freshman out of Houston, made the tackle. As the time winds down, it'll be a 3rd down and 3 for Alabama when we begin the 4th quarter. Glenn Coffey and David Reed exchanging 3rd quarter touchdowns. 3 quarters in the books. The Utah lead is 28-17. The Allstate Sugar Bowl will return after these messages from your local station. Alabama ranked number 1 in the nation for 5 weeks prior to their loss to Florida. Trail heading into the 4th quarter for the first time this season. Glenn Coffey has returned to the Alabama backfield. 3rd down and 3. John Parker Wilson, first play of the 4th quarter, is wrapped up and taken down back at the 48-yard line by Stevenson Sylvester, the 6th Utah sack tonight.
Unbelievable how much pressure Utah has been able to generate tonight. Paul Kruger coming from the outside. He's going to force John Parker Wilson out of the pocket. Stevenson Sylvester has played a fantastic game. He's usually the last guy coming out of the pile. Has just done an outstanding job. He's got 2 sacks to go along with everything else he's doing from his linebacker position.
P.J. Fitzgerald punting from his own 38. Castile lets it go. It takes an Alabama bounce and will be down at the 1-yard line. Early 4th quarter, Utah by 11. The 75th Allstate Sugar Bowl from the Louisiana Superdome. Kenny Albert, Darrell Johnston, Chris Myers, Carissa Thompson. Utah leading by 11. Will start from their own 1-yard line following the punt. Brian Johnson passing from out of his own end zone, and it's caught by the tight end, Colt Sampson. His first catch today, 11th of the season. Javier Arenas made the tackle, gain of 2.
Little different personnel in there when they're backed up down near their goal line. Still a little bit of a spread element to it, but you've got tight ends in there with the wide receivers.
Colt Sampson, usually a touchdown machine. 16 career receptions, 7 touchdowns. Now doing it on the other end of the field. 2nd down and 8. This time the Utes keep it on the ground. And Mack is bottled up by Rolando McClain.
Well, as we were going to commercial, there's a shot at Nick Saban going down the sideline, getting his defense ready to come out. A great opportunity to affect field position here with a big stop. 2 plays down, 1 more to go. Utah talked about doing what they do. In this situation, they kind of get into a different personnel. Now you're forced to go to the spread. I would have just as soon seen them go this style of offense on both of those first 2 downs.
Third down and 9, 4 wide receivers. Johnson from the end zone, complete to Freddie Brown, who picks up a first down. Brown missed some time on the previous drive due to a migraine. His 9th catch today. 13 yards as the Utes move the chains.
A great timing between Freddie Brown and Brian Johnson. Watch this. He's going up the field. He's going vertical. Stops, comes back. The ball's already been thrown. I mean, it's very, very difficult for Marquise Johnson to cover that. Well executed by Brian Johnson and Freddie Brown.
9 receptions, 100 yards for Brown, his second 100-yard game of the season. And for Brian Johnson, he is over 300 for the third time this season as Mack takes it out to the 22-yard line, tackled by Rashad Johnson, who lost his helmet on the tackle. Gain of 7. So Utah started this drive at their own 1. The key third down pass play from Johnson to Brown, giving Kyle Whittingham some breathing room. Only 19 rushing yards, but 301 in the air for the Utes.
Yeah, there wasn't a number that they were trying to hit. There wasn't a total they were trying to get to or a yards per carry. They just had to have it as part of their package. They're going to make their hay throwing the ball.
Johnson looking for Godfrey. Third and 3 coming up.
I might want to roll somebody over top of Freddie Brown, get him some help. He's been a huge player here in the second half. That big catch on their opening series to get everything jump-started. Another big conversion on that 3rd and long coming off their goal line.
Utes must get across the 25. And they will not. Johnson under pressure, looking for Brown. Here comes the Utah punting unit.
Good job in coverage by the Alabama defense. Brian Johnson has nowhere to go with the ball. Everybody's running short routes. They've got everything locked down.
Fifth punt for Sakota tonight. Arenas waiting back at his own 35. End over end. Arenas lets it bounce. And it bounces and rolls. And will finally come to a stop inside the 17-yard line. 61 yards on the punt, followed by the roll. All-State Sugar Bowl. Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Chris Myers, and Carissa Thompson. Alabama trailing by 11. They start from their own 17. John Parker Wilson firing to the outside, incomplete. Intended for Julio Jones. Bryce McCain on the coverage. 2nd and 10 upcoming.
Again, they're bringing pressure to the right side of Alabama, challenging John Michael Boswell, who's been forced to go in at right tackle, number 67, bringing pressure. Glenn Coffey misses. John Michael Boswell does a nice job. Another one of them freshmen that Alabama hit this year. Great recruiting class for the Crimson Tide.
Including Julio Jones, including Mark Ingram. 2nd and 10. Wilson fires, and the catch is made by the tight end Walker. Tackled at the 24-yard line by Nisi after a gain of 7. So it will be 3rd down and 3.
Another element that Utah has done a nice job again tonight is the tight end package that Alabama's been able to put on the field. Travis McCall, Nick Walker create a nice little package with the run game, play action, and bootlegs off of that. Gary Anderson's group has done a nice job defending that package, one they don't see too often out in the Mountain West.
Final game for Gary Anderson is Utah's defensive coordinator, the new head coach at Utah State. Utah's next opponent will be Gary Anderson and Utah State next September. Working one final game for the Utes. On 3rd and 3, the pass is broken up. Good defensive play made by Mike Wright.
Let's see if this is a similar play to what they ran on the goal line. Remember when they brought everybody across and snuck Glenn Coffey out? Instead of using a linebacker in coverage on the outside, they've got Mike Wright a little bit over. He gets through there a lot cleaner. You saw how clean he got there. Almost made the interception. Good feel by Mike Wright, getting across all those players that were trying to prevent his way from getting out to the flat.
Fitzgerald waiting. Back at his own 10-yard line. Castilla lets it bounce. Down at the 40.
I tell you, we got to. Somebody has got to give a call. There is a call when the ball hits the ground and takes an odd hop. The return man has got to make a call to alert his blockers in front that the ball is on the ground. Utah, very lucky that didn't hit one of their players and have it be first down Alabama. While we were at break, they actually took a look at that play. It did hit Clint Bauer in the foot, but he was blocked into it, so that supersedes. It will be first down Utah. You can see the contact right there, but because he was blocked into the ball to create the contact, Utah maintains possession.
With good field position, they start at their own 40. Brian Johnson of the Utes leading the Crimson Tide 28-17. Pass over the middle is caught by Freddie Brown, and he takes it into Alabama territory. 10 more yards for Brown. A Utah first down, his 10th reception tonight.
Good feel by the right tackle, Dustin Hensel, 65. Look at him bounce out on the blitzer. Ali Sharif coming off the edge. He's engaged with the defensive lineman. Bounces off of him, picks up the secondary blitzer.
First and 10 from midfield. The snap to Asiata. And Asiata takes it down to the 45. A gain of 5. Under 9 minutes remaining, fourth quarter. Crimson Tide trailed 21-0. Utah with an 11-point lead on the move. Again, it's Asiata. And Asiata picks up a first down to the Alabama 39. These great overhead shots brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV.
Little change up on those last couple of plays by Utah. Going to the Asiata formation. Playing a little bit of power football against this Crimson Tide defense. Staying in it right here.
Asiata will take the snap. Asiata down to the 38. Asiata broke his leg in the season opener last season. Came back strong this year, the leading rusher for Utah. 12 rushing touchdowns. He scored the Utes' second touchdown tonight, back in the second quarter.
Got to be careful. They've had Matt Asiata take that ball up inside like the power run game and then pop back and throw it. See if they're trying to lure Alabama's secondary up a little bit closer and get something over the top.
Asiata has thrown 3 passes this season. Asiata inside the 35, the 30 to the 28. There is a flag.
That is a big flag.
On the offense, number 66. 10-yard penalty, second down.
The right guard, Robert Conley.
Utah just shifting gears, coming out of their spread, playing some power football. There's your right guard, number 66, getting called for the hold. You can see it right as the end kind of locked up under the arm. Brandon Dederick unable to get back out in pursuit.
Now Asiata split to the left. Johnson will take the snap, second down and 19. Low snap. Johnson. Complete. 11th reception for Freddie Brown. Gain of 10. 6.5 remaining. The Nissan Z-Factor in today's game is Utah kicker / punter Louis Sakota.
Known on campus as King Louis. And we really felt if this game comes down to a field goal, that he'd be the guy to have. But really tonight it's been Utah's defense. That was the question mark coming in. How would they handle that big physical offensive line of Alabama? They have been fantastic tonight, getting pressure all night long.
6 sacks for the Utah defense. The Nissan Z-Factor brought to you by the all-new Nissan 370Z with the world's first Synchro-Rev match manual transmission as Johnson is forced to throw it away on the pressure from Dante Hightower. For more information on today's Nissan Z-Factor as a late flag comes in, log on to Fox Sports.
On the offense, number 3. Penalties, loss of down, spotted pass, 4th down.
FoxSports.com, keyword sugar. Johnson flag for intentional grounding. So the Crimson Tide will get the ball back under 6 minutes to play. Here's King Louis.
Well, let's not forget, though, he's averaged over 47 yards per punt, had a 61-yarder on the last one. Got a lot of roll out of that one, but 61 yards is 61 yards.
Arenas did return one for a touchdown 73 yards earlier. Alabama's first touchdown of the game. And a fair catch called for by Arenas at the 17 and a flag as Clint Maurer made contact. Not blocked this time, as he was when the earlier punt touched his foot.
Kick catch interference. Kicking team number 89. 15 yards will be added to the dead ball spot. First down. Timeout field.
Little sloppy with their penalties this half. Only 15 yards in the first half. A lot more here in the second.
Alabama trailing by 11. Under 6 minutes remaining here in New Orleans. John Parker Wilson and the Crimson Tide will start from their own 31-yard line. On first down, Wilson to Julio Jones. 7th catch for Jones. He gained 6.
Well, they have got Alabama out of their comfort zone right now. The Utah defense is going to force Alabama to move the ball down the field quickly. Now, will John Parker Wilson be patient enough to give what the defense is allowing, or is he going to try and get over the top and force something?
Second down and 4. Wilson wrapped up, loses the football, and it's recovered by Stevenson Sylvester. The 7th Utah sack. The 2nd Alabama turnover.
Looks at the recovery of the fumble. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense number 10. 15 yards from the dead ball spot. First down, Utah.
Stevenson Sylvester on the call with the foul, but again, it's pressure coming from the secondary by Utah. Sean Smith on the secondary blitz knocks it loose, and Stevenson Sylvester, who's had a heck of a game, there to recover the fumble.
The Alabama offensive line allowed only 17 sacks all season heading into this game. Forced to revamp the line. The suspension to Smith, the injury suffered by Johnson. They've allowed 7 sacks tonight.
And we did not know what role that the Andre Smith decision was going to make with that Alabama team, but Mike Johnson is out playing left tackle. He gets rolled up on. Does that happen if he's playing left guard? I mean, that suspension for this game has been such a critical factor because that Alabama line has been reshuffled. There's only 2 of the 5 playing their normal positions, and that is going to affect your protection, and we have seen it all night long. A little bit of confusion in who to pick up. We've had free defenders to John Parker Wilson during the course of this game.
There's number 4 on the defensive side, Smith, who had the last sack, the forced fumble. Number 4 on offense for Utah, Asiata, gained 3 on first down, and he will take the snap again here. Asiata down to the 37-yard line. So the Utah Utes looking to remain the only unbeaten team in the nation. Timeout called by the Crimson Tide. 4:24 left to play. The Utah Utes have never beaten an opponent from the SEC. 0-6 all time. They started this 2008 season with a victory, Darrell, in Ann Arbor in front of 108,000 fans, looking to put the exclamation point on a 13-0 campaign. They are 4 minutes, 24 seconds away.
But it was that Oregon State game where they came back and won it at the end that gave them the confidence in the field that this could be something special this season.
3rd down and 6, some trickery. Brent Castillo picks up a first down. And a late flag. Late hit out of bounds. Dangerous yet effective.
You know what? Everybody talks about it with a game like this, with Utah going up against Alabama. Some trickery at some point.
After the runner went out of bounds, personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the defense, number 49. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
We've been waiting for it, waiting for it. Was it going to be in special teams? Something on the offense? The motion from around the back. The catch, the flip, a critical 3rd down. They wait all the way until just over 4 minutes to go in the 4th quarter on a critical 3rd down with a little trickery. And then 15 more with a little bit of frustration from Rashad Johnson.
So it gives Kyle Whittingham a chance to smile. Under 4 minutes on the clock. Asiata takes the snap. Asiata tackled in the backfield, loses a yard. Eric Andrews made the tackle. Timeout, Alabama. Our All-State Good Hands play of the game. After Alabama cut the Utah lead to 4, Johnson with his 3rd touchdown pass of the evening, connecting with David Reed. 28-yard pass play.
That was a great response. They were up 21-0 at the end of the 1st quarter. Alabama had fought all the way back to 21-17, appeared to have gained the momentum back in this game. And that drive, just a tremendous response by Utah, finished off by David Reed.
Fans now chanting undefeated. The Utah portion of this crowd, over 71,000 in attendance. Asiata down to the 12-yard line. And the Crimson Tide will use their final timeout. 3:41 remaining, 4th quarter. The Alzheimer's Association, which is part of our Fox Sports Supports charitable initiative, is leading the way in Alzheimer care, support, and research. To help stop Alzheimer's and end this disease, please go to www.alz.org. Utah finished undefeated back in 2004. Beat Pitt in the Fiesta Bowl, finished 12-0. Kyle Whittingham replaced Urban Meyer following that undefeated season. Utah 3 minutes 41 seconds away from 13-0 in 2008. Asiata. I mentioned earlier, Utah, the first team from a non-BCS conference to play in 2 BCS bowl games. They referred to their Fiesta Bowl victory over Pitt. Who could forget Boise State over Oklahoma in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl 2 years ago? And last year, Hawaii losing to Georgia 41-10 in the All-State Sugar Bowl.
Well, let the conversation begin about the greatest team in the history of Utah football. Is it the 04 team or the 08 team? And not to take anything away from Urban Meyer and Alex Smith and what that group did, but Kyle Whittingham and Brian Johnson and his group coming to the Sugar Bowl tonight against Alabama, a team that held the #1 ranking in the country for 5 weeks. That's just a fantastic job tonight.
Now this weekend, the NFL postseason begins. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Minnesota Vikings on Fox this Sunday. The Gold 4 Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show gets underway at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Eagles squeaking in with their victory over the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. Congratulations to Peyton Manning, named the league's most valuable player for the 3rd time, matching Brett Favre. You and I had a chance to chat with former All-State Sugar Bowl MVP Archie Manning on the field prior to the game. So he now has the reigning Super Bowl MVP and the reigning NFL MVP in his family.
Very proud father.
28-yard attempt, Louis Sakota. And Sakota connects. Second in the nation in scoring. 4 extra points and a field goal for Sakota tonight. Earlier today, the Legends Luncheon here in New Orleans.
Hey, there's my coach from the Sugar Bowl team.
And your quarterback.
And our most outstanding player, the Snake.
And Archie Manning, the New Orleans native. Frank Broyles coached Arkansas in 4 All-State Sugar Bowls. You know, it's interesting when you look back at this Sugar Bowl that you played in, Darryl, following the 87 season, the 88 Sugar Bowl. That was the last Sugar Bowl prior to this one, with 2 top 6 teams in a non-championship game. A 16-16 tie,
Oh,
Syracuse and Auburn.
You had to go there, didn't you?
The only tie in the history of the All-State Sugar Bowl. How many ties were sent from the Syracuse area down to Auburn head coach Pat Dye?
Quite a few, which Pat Dye signed and then sold and gave all the money to charity.
2:49 remaining. As the kickoff is bobbled and taken at the 25-yard line by Huber. And the fullback, speaking of Darryl Johnston and your Sugar Bowl appearance, the fullback Huber returns it out to the 49. But we take you back to the 1988 Sugar Bowl. 14 carries, 50 yards for my partner, and a quick kick punt.
Got the roll, just like King Louis did earlier today. Not the greatest kick, but got a good roll out of it. And, you know, I found out why Pat Dye elected to go for the tie in that game. He said, I'm not going to lose to a team that quick kicks in the bowl game. So then I kind of felt responsible for the whole thing.
John Parker Wilson sacked. Guess who? Stevenson Sylvester. His third sack, the 8th for the Utes.
He has had an outstanding game on the defensive side of the ball. A little bit of everything for Stevenson Sylvester tonight. Coming from the top of your screen. Just too quick on that edge for Drew Davis.
8 Utah sacks. 2nd and 18. As Wilson throws it away. 2:01 on the clock. So who received the trophy back in '88?
That's a good question. I think we both did. I know there's one in Syracuse. I'm sure there's one in Auburn. Not any. That's a good question.
You know, I just want to let the viewers know we were down on the field before the game, and Darryl punted one. Actually took another shot at the quick kick. Showed great technique. 21 years and 1 day later.
Still got the roll too.
Third down at 18. Wilson moving to his left, looking. Now he fires downfield, and this ball will be intercepted. It's the 2nd pick of the game for Robert Johnson.
Not really anything that John Parker Wilson can do. You got to try and create in this situation when you're down 14. Going to his go-to guy, Julio Jones. But Robert Johnson goes up and gets it. He's still down on the field right now. Taking a look at his right knee. Must have landed awkwardly when he came down.
Junior from Los Angeles underwent off-season shoulder surgery. Has 2 interceptions today, doubling his total for the season.
Keep an eye on his right leg. Oh, just kind of hyperextends. You can see when he landed, kind of went out the back.
The Utah portion of the crowd continues to chant undefeated as Alabama started the season 12-0. Lost to Florida 31-20 on December 6th in the SEC championship game. Ending their 13-game win streak, are going to lose for the 2nd straight game to finish up their season. Utah, 3 first-quarter possessions after they deferred after winning the coin toss. 3 first-quarter touchdowns to take a 21-0 lead.
About as well as they could have played in the first quarter. And then Javier Arenas, I mean, just a great individual effort to get it to 21-10 at that time. They got it to 21-17 at one point, and then a huge drive by the Utah Utes, capped off by a touchdown by David Reed to take it back to 28-10. And Alabama just not able to regain that momentum.
Terrific job by our entire crew here in New Orleans, led by producer Barry Landis, director Michael Frank, associate directors Fran Morrison and Jeremy Green, associate producer Sharad Gavaskar, broadcast associate Mark Schaefer, our technical director Chris Castro. Thanks also to Matt Banovic, Rick Camps, Dave Corris, Ben Bulba, Rich Ackerman, Joe Sherman, Byron Boston, Jim Hoffer up in the broadcast booth, and Liz Abel and Jeff Purinton of the sports information departments of Utah and Alabama. The Utah Utes are going to win a school record 13th game of the season, their 14th win overall, longest streak in the nation, 8 consecutive bowl wins longest streak in the nation. Their first ever victory over an opponent from the Southeastern Conference.
Paul Kruger doing his best to lobby for Stevenson Sylvester for the MVP. It's going to come down to him or Brian Johnson.
3 sacks for Sylvester, 322 yards in the air, 3 touchdowns for Johnson. The Utah Utes conclude a perfect season for head coach Kyle Whittingham, who spent 3 years of his childhood here in New Orleans. His late dad, Fred, a member of the New Orleans Saints. Kyle played for the New Orleans Breakers here in the Louisiana Superdome. A perfect season, 13-0, while the Alabama Crimson Tide finish up the year at 12-2. The Utah Utes, the champions of the 75th All-State Sugar Bowl.
What an impressive job by Utah. They shocked everybody. We mentioned it at the top. Utah alums and the people in the state of Utah had confidence that they'd be able to come in here and do exactly this. But the majority of the people around this country felt Alabama would respond after that difficult loss to Florida in the SEC championship game. Utah jumped on them from the get-go. And Alabama really never got back into this game. Just a tremendous job by Kyle Whittingham and his staff. Gary Anderson on his last game coaching with the Utah Utes before he heads to Utah State. A great defensive plan to stop that Alabama offense.
Utah over Alabama by the score of 31-17. A lot more coming up. Chris Rose and the gang from Los Angeles. And then the trophy presentation from the Superdome. The Utah Utes undefeated, 13-0.